Yo, 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 what it do? It's your boy GC the Great, and this is That Talk, episode 43. Shout out to the notification gang. Shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. I love y'all. We appreciate y'all. I told y'all we was gonna have another one. We got a special guest. I'm excited about this one. Um, all because I like her work. I like her content. I like the message she puts out, the positivity she puts out into the universe, and I call her from another page, but I just liked her points. I loved her points that it drew me to wanting to bring her here and get a personal conversation with her. So I want everybody to give, if you at home, wherever you at, you driving, listen, whatever, wherever you at, give a round of applause for Real Talk Lala. Thank you,
Thank
Lala, for coming on my show. Thank you for coming on the
thank
show.
you.
Thank you. How you
Thank you
feeling
for
today?
having me. How
You
you said
welcome.
how
You
I'm
welcome.
feeling today?
Yeah, how you feeling today?
Good, good. I just came from like a hit class, so I'm like exhausted, but I'm feeling
Okay.
good, feeling good.
What's that? What's hit class? What you mean by that? Like
It's
what's
like intense workout for like short periods of time. So
mm,
really trying to
okay.
get into shape this year and really
Mm,
take it another step because I'm not a person that likes to work out, so I need somebody to drill me all the time. So
okay. So what decided what made you wake up one day and just lock in on that? Because I know you probably was thinking about it before you actually started locking in, but what made you just wake up and lock in?
um like I've tried everything else, like going to the gym myself, hiring like gym trainers, but um it never really worked out because I hate working out. Like it's not something that I want. So I've tried to kind of figure it out. Like I need somebody to like come and get my ass into the gym and like drill me. So
Okay.
definitely my sister recommended a person and he's been doing a great job. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Shout out to him. Shout out to your family for recommending that. Shout out to them. Um, well, can you tell the people where you from? Like, where exactly are you from?
I'm from Queens, New York. I reside in Long Island right now,
Okay.
but I'm all over. You know, I
Okay.
travel a lot, and yeah, this I'm on a mission to really spread positivity. I don't know. Can I just give a little background about
Oh
myself?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I have sickle cell disease myself. I have a child with autism and life has been up and down for me. It's going to continue to be up and down for me. And I just want to spread the word to everybody that no matter the circumstances, no matter where you are, where you want to be, it's possible. You can change your life. You can um create a life that you really are proud of and you can look back on and say like I left my legacy, and no matter what the circumstances you can do that. So I just want to encourage people to keep going, keep trying. Sometimes you have to take a couple of steps backwards to go forward, but never give up on yourself, never. So
Shout
that's
out.
my message. Yeah.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you. And I didn't know that. That's crazy. So I'm again to everybody that's watching. We've been talking for a while, narrating this, and I did not know that at all. So shout out to you for being so strong, and you saying having a child with autism. I know that's not easy. I don't know a lot about it because you walk in it, so I can't sit here and act like I do. But from what I've seen, I know that that's a struggle and it's something it's tough to deal with, and you know what I mean. And I know that not a lot of people really are sensitive to the topic, like stuff like that. They don't really truly understand. People speak kind of loosely on stuff like that. So I really commend you and I respect you for coming on the show and telling people that, because people need to hear that. They need to see somebody like you, walking it, because I told you I gravitated to you. I gravitated your message, the positivity in your messages, regardless of what you were talking about. Don't matter what you were particularly talking about. I gravitated to the positivity and the energy in your message. So again, shout out to you and shout out to everybody that's going through the similar situation as her. And like she said, if regardless if you need help, if you need somebody to talk to that you feel like you don't know where to go, I left her contact in the description. you can contact her, you know, or reach out to people that walk to walk this life like her, because it's many people like Lala out here right now that's, you know, going through a situation like that, and they keeping their head high. Because I would have never known that, honestly, until you just told me. That was like a whole twister right there, roller coaster, because I didn't know that. And to see
Yeah,
how strong you are too, just, you know, it's you unique. You're a unique spirit, and I'm grateful for you for coming on the show and you know, delivering that. That was that's big right there, man. I really do commend you for that. I really
I
do.
appreciate it.
No
Appreciate it.
problem. If you can you tell can you give a little bit more on that journey? Like, what was it like, you know, figuring out everything, like when you first found out things, like how you started, you know, going about it to get help in the ways you feel like you needed it? Like, what were some things you had to do and face?
Um, Before me having my son, so like I stated, I have sickle cell disease. I was born, it's a disease, if you don't know what that is, it's like a blood disorder where, you know, you're born with it. You go into these things called crises where you have extreme pain, and most of the time you have to be hospitalized. There's other things that come with that because there's a lack of oxygen going to your extremities and parts of your body, so it does affect your spleen, your liver, your brain, like wherever that occurs. So living with that took a lot of adjustment. You know, it was not something when I was growing up, like people had a lot of information about it. So I kind of learned as I go, like how to eat, how to, what triggers the crisis, you know, and there has been times in my life where my mother, she didn't know, she wasn't aware, where doctors experimented. So that was a struggle because it caused other things to happen. Um, but besides that point, growing up, now I know how to take care of myself better. There's more research, and just maintaining myself is a challenge, because if you do know somebody with sickle cell, the crises can be triggered by anything: bad weather, being in the water too long,
Mm.
stress. And when you get older, you have a lot of stress. So you really have to control that, your diet, stay hydrated, all that type of stuff. So um the narrative is most like, uh, people with sickle cell, they don't live till their 40s, or you know, they're very sickly, so their quality of life
So that's like a myth,
going.
pretty much. That's a myth, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that I know a lot of people that have passed away from sickle cell. I just had a friend of mine pass away recently,
Okay.
but they're some most of them haven't taken care of themselves. They like in denial
Yeah.
about how their body reacts. My friend that recently passed away, she went on a trip to Miami, and she caught pneumonia, and it turned into something else. And you know, she didn't arrive at the hospital in time to treat it, so it took over, and what happened. But with that, you know, you have to take care of yourself, and you know, you're not, the quote unquote is like, you don't live till 40 or past that, and you can't have kids. So when I had my son, that was a miracle in itself. But
Yeah.
then um he was a little early, but not like a lot, and that wasn't like the issue. So later on, when he was about 4 years old, we started to notice the signs of autism. And I know this is like, people are gonna go against the grain and say, like, oh, that's not possible. But my son didn't have autism when he was born.
Mm.
And around his 3.5-year old vaccines, a week after that, he started to develop signs. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Y'all can come to your conclusion. You know, I don't want to put that out there. But yeah, he wasn't born with autism. He was fully speaking. Uh, he was reaching all his milestones. And after the 3.5-year-old vaccines, a week later, all his speech disappeared. And we started to notice like the stemming and his activity levels and his behavior problems. And then we went and got evaluated. He was diagnosed with autism. So yeah, it's uh autism is a long journey for anybody going through it. And it's really everybody has a different, there's different aspects to it. So my journey is not going to be somebody else's journey. You can join a community and get information. That's why I say, like, get information from other parents, because the city, the schools, they don't want to help you. So
Mm,
the only people that I suggest you create a community with is other parents, because they'll be able to give you information, or tell you things that they've gone through that may relate to you.
mm.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's a great point. Because I do agree with that. As far as schools, I just don't think they um emphasize on certain things. They don't really so lock down on certain things that's important that that I feel like can be effective, because when kids are in school, they're kind of with the school more than the parent in a way.
Yeah.
It's like they have an effect on the kids in a way. Whereas like if you were to be implementing this in school, certain things, I think it would have a different impact on society. I think the education system has a big impact on society and the way things are. You know what I mean? In the good and bad. There's pros and cons to education, the education system. So, like you said, I do agree that it's a good idea for people to go to parents in that similar situation. I think there needs to be like a whole movement of parents. Like
Yeah.
for like strictly that. I think it needs to be a whole movement for that. I mean, strictly from parents, and um, because I think that would be a big impact on just what people go through. Again, because we don't really know what you guys go through. And like you said, y'all, everybody has different stories. So, but everybody, the similar thing in everybody is everybody need help. Everybody need help
Yeah.
in some type of way. So I think that would be a good idea. Yeah. So what got you into podcasting? Like, cause I don't really want to call you a podcaster, but this is a thing we do now. I guess it's like a new age in this that
Mhm.
we're in. So it's a thing now. So what got you into wanting to podcast and stuff?
Um, I started podcasting probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I did it for 6 months and I stopped. So recently I got back into it. I just felt like the the place that I was in my life wasn't conducive for me to uh, be able to spread a message to somebody, because I wasn't living it at that point.
Mm,
And now my journey has, I'm still growing. But I've gone through a lot. I have done a lot of healing, growing, and just being a better person for myself. And those trials and tribulations that I've been through, and relationships and everything else in between, I can now express that to people on how to fix those things. And because I've gone through it, I've been through the mud and all that. And I'm on top of it now. Let's put it that way. I have overcome it, and I'm willing to help other people do that, because I sometimes you have to step back in life and just observe. And everybody has their battles, but people are hiding it. People are trying to put face on that, their life is perfect, their life is grand, and they're doing the damn thing, and it's, you know, but once you step back and once you've been through that, you can see through the cracks.
Yeah.
It's like a broken mirror. You can put it back together. You can still look through it, but you can still see the cracks. And I want people to understand that the only way to fix those cracks is actually to acknowledge them. And it's okay because nobody has their shit together. It's just some people are better at covering it up more than you are.
And that's the reality. And that there, folks, is the reality. But I like some people just and some people know how to wear it too. You see
Yeah.
some people. That's why I like and that it goes to. And I don't want to. I'm not trying to get off topic with this, but it kind of goes to the point where like don't be jealous or mad at people when you see them being blessed or anything like that, because you really don't know the storm that they went through to get to that point, and even what they're going through to keep that stuff that they're going. See, people just look at the situation like somebody said. A guy is he was driving a van and he looked over and he seen a guy in a convertible, and he like, oh man, I wish I had that convertible. I wish he's jealous of him, want to trade his life, but that guy stole that. He got a car. The woman in the car, I got with him. She on coke. She coked out. She don't care about herself. She not for him. But the guy in the van looking at that like he want that life. But whole time he happy. He got a family, that kids that love him. He got people that love him. You know what I'm saying? He know himself. But I didn't want to kind of go off topic, but it's kind of like in that situation where it's like
Yeah.
you don't know people's situation, and just like don't don't get stuff confused, man, because man, you can't judge a book by its cover. And like you said, man, it's like everybody going through it. Everybody have their own struggle. They deal with their struggle in their own way. And just because something looks like somebody's not struggling, you don't know. They might be struggling. It's just that's different for their life. Their struggle is different. You know,
Yeah.
struggles is different at different levels. So I do agree with that. That was a great point. That was a great point. So like you said that you got into it and you stopped, and when you got back, when you was like when it was time for you to get back, what made you like just like, all right, I'm about to get back into it? Because usually we have those moments where it's like because I do music, so I've had moments where I don't. I mean, real musicians would tell you they quit a million times and still kept going. So that's me. So I'm one of the people that I've quit so many times, like, I'm not gonna do it. But in all actuality, I know that I'm chosen to do something with it. So what was the point where it was like? Because I feel like you in that point where you're not turning back from what you're doing right now. You're too in it. To me, from my perspective, it may not be true, but from my perspective, it looks like you're confident in what you're putting out into the universe right now. And we don't know the future, but from what I see and what I observe, and the energy you put out is like it's not for like fame or anything like that. This is life. It's real life.
Mhm.
So I think it's like a more like a I don't know if I could be wrong though. And I want you
No,
to
no,
explain
no.
it because you ready to jump in. So go ahead. I'm gonna
Yeah,
let you
yeah.
jump
So I'm gonna be completely transparent about it. Going back to like when I quit, I've done so many things in life when it came to social media. I was a beauty influencer before I had a contract with L'Oreal and all that, but then like things started to transition where it was more life based, and um it was a struggle, but anything in life, I never be like, oh, it's not working, I'm gonna give up. I always look at it as, all right, that didn't work. Let me shift a little bit and see if this works. And I always keep going. And my friend asked me the other day, he's like, what if this podcasting thing doesn't work out? I said, well, then I keep going. Like, we gonna figure something else out.
in.
Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
not it's it's never an end game. Like you can't say like, oh, it didn't work, let me stop and do what? Like just stop your life. It doesn't make sense to me. So whatever I'm doing, I'm always going. Just yesterday, I was struggling because I was supposed to record a podcast, and it was just like, oh man, my mind is everywhere and I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it your mind will f you up real quick. Like if you let your mind run away, it will. And your mind is very powerful, and that's how the enemy attacks you the most.
Yeah.
So I let it happen. I was sitting there like, oh, I don't even know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And come down to it, it was like, how do I know who I'm affecting? Like, I don't see the likes, I don't see the shares like I used to. But then I had to sit back and I was like, you know what? What am I doing it for? And I had a conversation with a friend, and she was like, are you glorifying God when you're
Mm.
doing your podcast?
Whew.
And I had to sit, and I'm like, first of all, how did we even get on this conversation? Because we weren't talking about that. She just came out and she was like, oh, I need you to help my church with their podcast because they don't have the right mic. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then we got into the conversation. She was like, is your podcast glorifying God? And I had to sit back and I was like, I don't know. And it took me all night and I prayed about it. And I had a shift in my mind on it. Not necessarily wasn't glorifying God, but I was looking at the results more than who it impacted, right? I was looking at the likes, the views, or whatever, and I
Yeah.
was getting discouraged. And I was like, well, nobody's listening to it, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter if I affect one person, right? One person, I can save a life. One person, I can save from a bad relationship. One person, I can mm, encourage them to keep going. So that is what it's for. It's not for the views. And I had to remind myself that, like, you're
Yeah.
not doing this because of views.
Yeah.
You are doing this because you have a calling, and don't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
And it's easy. It's easier to do that in a world of social media where the dopamine is just there all the time. Yeah, it's easy to do that, but you have to ground yourself, and you have to have a strong faith and trust in God. And for a long time, I didn't have that. Last 5 years, I didn't have that. I
Mm.
didn't have that. And it's a process, but I'm going to, no matter what, always refer back to God like, hey, what is next? Because this is not for me. This is for you.
Mm. You admitting that though, like right what you just said at the end, you admitting that the strength is right in that. Because it's people that can't even confess it, even because you can say like that's like saying I'm sorry, but really not apologizing for really what you've done with change behavior, right? You I could tell by your energy you doing that. Sometimes it takes us even strong people a while to accept certain things. That's true, that we know we need. I'm gonna be the first to tell you I'm strong, but it's been things in my life that I had to, this season that I've been back since I came back to Rochester. I was just living in Atlanta, and I came back to Rochester, New York, and the whole time me coming back was just me just I've been going through everything. I separated. Me and my kid's mother separated. That was something tough because I'm a family man. That was some, just dealing with things with people, friends, family, my own mind and mental. Like you said, the mental war and your own mental war. I think is probably one of the strongest battles you have in life. It's a continuous battle. It's a battle
Right.
that I feel like you have to fight till you die. It's a fight till you die battle because your mind can play its own games on you because you got to be careful what you feeding it too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? With the stuff you're feeding it'll work against you sometimes. It'll cause you things like me. Sometimes I used to feel like I'm I wasn't giving my kids enough attention because I'm too focused on the grind, the mission, trying to make a better life for them. Sometimes that I didn't realize like okay you could do that, but you still have to have some form of balance. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because even though it's hard because my kids have to miss out a little bit right now of me because I have to put in the type of work that everybody won't understand because I'm trying to secure their future. But they don't understand that. So, but it's not their job really understanding right now. It's my job to still I have to balance it out. I have to still give them a part of me that, and that was something that I was dealing with. But I had to, like I said, I had to really isolate myself from the world, literally hanging out with people, just not even sometimes doing music, not even doing something I truly love. I just had to go silence out the whole world and learn to be happy with nothing.
Yeah. Solitude. A lot of people during the pandemic couldn't sit with themselves. They had no choice but to sit in the house, and it drove them crazy because people do not, they cannot sit with themselves. Their thoughts run away with them, start realizing things that, you know, their whole life is a distraction. Going to work, chilling with your friends, going to the bar, that's all a distraction from the shit that's really going on in your life.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So solitude, my phrase is masterpiece. So life is a masterpiece.
That's
Right?
deep right there.
So solitude, having a connection with the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, a higher power that lives within you,
Mhm.
right? Um, Grounding yourself with nature. And a lot of people don't say this, but God, King of the universe, like I said, whatever you want to call it, there's always a connection. It's like the circle of life. When you die, you go back into the ground, you feed the ground. The cattle, whatever, eat the ground. So it's all a circle. If you don't have the connection with the higher and the lower, you're
Mm,
lost. So
that's deep. That's deep right there. That was deep. You said what you say again? You said master. What you said? Say that phrase again. I like that.
mass masterpiece. So life can be a masterpiece.
Mm. You a rapper? You rap? That's like some rap
You
right
know
there.
what?
That's a little
A
rap
lot
right
of
there. You
people
know what I'm
asking me that. No,
saying?
I write poetry and stuff, but you're like the third person who asked me if I was a rapper. And one time my friend I go on fan base sometimes, and I was like, yeah, I wrote this rap or whatever. And he was like, go ahead and read it. I mean, like, rap it out, whatever. He was like, oh, you know how to ride the beat. I was like, I do? I had no idea. He was like, yo, I want you to finish that song. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that because I'm
Yeah.
not a rapper. But
Nah,
um,
you know what I told. Sorry to just cut you, but you know what I just told somebody. They asked me. They said, somebody said they was like, I don't know how to rap. I wish I did because I just don't know how to put stuff together. And I told people, being a rapper and a lyricist is really simple. People make it hard. Being a rapper, even being a lyricist, is simple. You see how you hear you're articulating your words, you coming up, you using analogies and stuff like that, and how you're doing that. All that's the same thing with music. It's music is a form of communication. It's all about only thing that's different is you're rhyming. Sometimes you just rhyme the words,
mhm,
but it's all about your delivery. Is all about how you want to push your message because it's you. Music is your music. So whatever you come up with. So the fact that you know how to come up with something like that, that's like wordplay. That's a form of like
yeah,
wordplay in the way what you did. And it's like, but it still has meaning of quality. That's something that you could take away. Like if I heard it in a rap, I could take away that little piece and live my life by that.
mm,
That's what separates a true lyricist from a rapper when you can take their stuff and you can live your life with it in a
mm,
positive way. So yeah, that's why I asked you that because I'm a lyricist. So I recognize that's some type of stuff I would say something like that. No, for real. So that was
yeah,
pretty dope. That's pretty dope. That's a great point as far as with the nature and just having the balance. And that's something that I vowed this year too. Just to get more in tune with nature. That y'all just want to fish more, just want to go out and just put my bare feet in the grass and
in the grass.
you
Yep.
know what I'm saying? All that. I want to do all the stuff that I feel like sometimes I be feeling like I distract myself from. Because it
Mm-hmm.
really be me. I feel like I've been wanting to do it, but I've been distracting myself with the worries of this life that realistically don't even matter. A lot of stuff that
Yeah.
we be stressing about and that we think about, they put it here for us to stress about and to think about. When all actuality, we just supposed to be live prosperous, love each other, grow
Yeah.
off the land, live off the land. That's initially what life is truly about. Love God, love what God
Yeah.
created. That's and give it back. That's what they. And I don't want to get deep in that all that conspiracy stuff, and we can go all day about that.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
go.
that's it. Yeah,
Um, but when you said they distract you and stress about stuff, a lot of people stress about impressing other people that don't even care.
that's one of the. I think yeah,
I
that's
had to realize nobody cares. You are so controlled in your mind and so conditioned to feel like you need to be at a certain point in life or a certain state. Nobody cares. They don't. If you disappear, see how many people actually call you and say, "Yo, I haven't seen you. What's going
okay.
on?"
Like
Nobody.
2 or 3. You probably get realistically, if you're a loving person, even with loving people, you might have like 1 or 2 people. I do truly believe that. People would probably think the grand scheme they want a lot of people, but I truly believe like if you put a certain energy out here before you leave this world, and if you're genuine, you connected with you have soul family, and it's not
Well,
fake.
let me say this. On the healing journey, I had friends that I talked to like every other day, right? So when I separated myself, the only people that called me were the people that the conversations were not like, they were gossip, they were talking about problems, they weren't nurturing, they weren't about money, it wasn't about growing. So those people, yeah, they noticed that I stopped calling them. So they would call me, "Yo, what's up, blah blah blah. Let me tell you something about that." And then I started to realize, like, I don't want to hear that shit no more.
Yeah, right, right.
Like, you're so caught up in these conversations, you don't even realize that you're just putting junk in your head to manifest in your life. But once you start to be conscious about it, you start realizing, like, oh, these conversations with these people, yeah, I talk to them almost every day, but they weren't helping me grow. They were keeping me stagnant. They were keeping me in that low vibration, that low frequency. So once you're coming out of that, you'll start to realize, oh, like, they're calling me, but I don't want to be there no more.
Yeah. You be disgusted
Yeah.
with yourself. I was disgusted with myself with a lot of things that I used to put up with. How I used to sleep on myself, my abilities. How I would, just I would keep certain people around that God was kind of like he would, warning comes before destruction. I do believe that. I do believe God he would warn you, like he'll show you certain things about certain people that you think highly of, that you kind of think highly of, and God will be tapping you like I
Yeah, let them go. And then you don't listen, here's a knock on your head. You don't listen, here's a boulder.
Yeah,
Bang, there you go.
yes. That's exactly
Yeah.
what happens. And so, and I got my bruises from not listening. I've got
Yeah.
bruises. I've got my sores. But the one thing I do love the most though is when you finally you just get to that point where when you know what you need to know about yourself, about life, about even when you're not where you want to be, and you know what you start actually listening to God, because like for what you need to do, like myself, like I feel like now that I've just accepted that one day I just had to talk with God, and I don't really talk about my prayers, but it was more of a conversation, and I told God, because God I feel like knows everything, right? I know everything. There's no point in lying. It's just true essence, right? I said that I'm going to actually start listening for real, like being obedient. Like I feel like at times, even though I know God and I know I'm spiritual, whatever, I could be disobedient in ways, because I feel like I know, but I'm actually about to start listening firsthand. Like when God tell me something, right there, I'm not even about to question stuff no more. Like I was like, I'm
Yeah.
done doing that, because I feel like the more I do that, the more I put myself in situations where I'm in a situation where I was like, man, I should just listen. I keep putting myself in those situations. So I feel like now if I just truly just listen to that true essence, that true divine energy that speaks to me, to my spirit, because it speaks to you, especially when you want it to and you allow it to. It speak right. It's not hard if it'll give it right to you as soon as you ask for it. You don't even need to like search for it. Some people be acting like I don't know the answer. You trying to run the people, in all actuality, you need to go within and it's right there waiting
Mm-hmm.
for you. Just people just don't want to accept it. They too scared.
Facts.
They too
Facts.
scared.
Yeah.
So you talking that real talk. I like that. I like that a lot.
You should download the app The Chosen.
Okay. My,
It's
my,
a it's um it's a very good. It's a series. The first 8 episodes are on Netflix, but if you download the app, all 3 seasons are on there. So The Chosen. It's about God's journey. I mean, Jesus's journey, his disciples, and stuff like that. But they make it relatable to this day and age,
okay.
so you can
Check it out, man.
actually,
I'm downloading. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it
yeah.
out because I'm on that type of journey too. Like reading more. Not gonna lie, I was not the reader. Come last year, even go last year, I wasn't the biggest reader. I read, but I wasn't the biggest reader. I'm more on that. I just want to start feeding my spirit more, my mind, my mental. You know, the war between my mind and my heart. That was a big one too. That's a big one.
Mm,
That's a big war that a lot of people are losing right now. We got people losing that war as we speak right now. They losing the battle to their mind and their heart. They don't know how to balance it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
they're passenger to themselves. A lot of people are passenger to themselves and they don't realize that. And that's real deep. Like it's like they don't know like the stuff you're feeding yourself, the way you're doing, the stuff you're engaging in, it's causing you to create something like kind of subconsciously that's controlling you that you don't realize that you have control of. But it's like you just feeding yourself, not knowing like it's killing you. Is a lot of stuff is killing you. So
Yeah.
that's deep, man. That's very deep. Um, so you had some initially I seen a post on IG and you were and shout out to everybody, that you work with and everything like that. I love what y'all doing. I just love the whole energy, the whole atmosphere. I'm a fan of y'all work as separately and together. But I seen it was a conversation you guys are having. We're going to talk about, the relationship stuff. And you made a good point where you said like red flags, like something in a
Oh, with you're talking about with Encore podcast, Kid Works, and
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. You were saying that you look like when you look for red flags, you look for a person like their relationship with their parents.
Mm-hmm.
That was deep. When you that was like literally, I'm not gonna lie, that was the one that kind of drew me to want to interview. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to interview her. I was like, I
I
like her.
got no, and I got like a lot of bad comments like, oh well, what about family that don't respect you and are mental, like people were going in.
I know. I could
And
tell. That's
I was just like, oh, I was questioning myself, like, should I have said that? Because people were like, but it goes to show me like how much brokenness between your parents and the children are because of related trauma that the parents went through and the children went through, right? So I had to make it clear. Like, I mean, obviously that was just a clip, but the whole interview was more so like anybody that actually took the time out and raised you the right way, like put their time and effort and raised you, not somebody that tossed you to the side and stuff like that. So it wasn't just mother and father, it was like whoever raised you,
right.
you should have a respectful relationship with them. And maybe I should make another post or go into
No,
this
no,
on a
no. I got
podcast.
that. I got that point when you said
Yeah.
anybody that raised you, because I listened to that. I was like, because I don't like to just judge people off of just the face value things, what they say. I actually like to kind of understand. And that's what I love about the podcasting world is like, we're not here to, I feel like we're not here to be perfect. We normal people just like regular people that's not doing podcasting. Like we normal just like y'all. We just have shown that we put it to the we put it to the, in front of people now. We just put these conversations in front of people. It's just like we having regular conversations, but we human. We it's not like we're trying to be perfect. Like when I do this stuff, I don't try to be perfect. I just try to be genuine and come from a real standpoint where I'm coming from, because at the end of the day, I don't want to never feel like I'm cheating people when I come on here. Like I'm not on here being somebody you wouldn't see outside of it. I know how to separate business from work and home stuff, but at the same time, it's like I didn't build this stuff off of being like somebody I'm not anyway. So I'm
Right.
gonna speak how I feel. Like this is truly
Right.
how I feel. Like you're not wrong for how you truly feel. That's truly how you feel. And it's people that agree with you. Because even though I've never heard that, I agree with you. I've never heard that point. But I agree with you because I'm like, yo, if you really pay attention to what she's saying is like, yo, if you don't have a like kind of solid relationship with people that raise you, put the time into you, the love and care, all that, the proper way, like you said, the proper way, and you don't even have a relationship with them, yeah, I'm gonna be I'll be edgy, skeptical. I'll be on the edge to talk to somebody like you because it's like you don't have no solid foundation. You don't have no loyalty. You don't have no like. You don't understand what a backbone is. You don't understand structure. You don't
Hmm.
security. Like it's a lot of form of things that like you don't respect that. You don't even
Right.
respect that. So it was more than just hearing that I heard. I heard a lot in it, and that's why I said I wanted to interview because I'm like, yo, I really want her to come on and explain that point because that is deep. That's deep.
Yeah, and I don't want people to feel like, you just because even my relationship with my mother, right? It's had its struggles. I don't agree with everything on how she raised me, but she raised me. So I have a certain respect level, and I have to understand that she has her own traumas that she has to deal with, and how she um navigates through that. She didn't have the proper tools. She doesn't have the tools that I have now. Like that wasn't discussed back in the day. So she did the best that she could with
Yeah,
what she had, right? And you're going to have trials and tribulations and disagreements and arguments with your parents. Yes, that's normal. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm a saint to my parents. I've argued with my mother here and there, but overall, I still have the respect, and I still have thank you for doing what you did, because I could be in the streets looking for food. I can be, in a worse position, or not have a mother figure at all. And then people who, like your aunts or your grandmothers, who stepped up to the plate,
yeah,
they didn't have to do that.
yeah. They didn't. They didn't have to.
So you don't have to have like this grand old best relationship with them and cuddle with them and stuff like that, but there has to be a respect for what they've given you,
Oh
and
yeah.
some
Oh,
kind of relationship where you might not agree with them. You might have to have your distance, maybe your time period's 10 minutes with them, because then they start complaining. That's fine. It's a relationship with them. It's not like, oh, fuck them, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about them. Like that kind of shit, I can't.
yeah,
Because if you don't respect somebody that gave you part of their life, what what am I expecting from you?
yeah, yeah. And and that's why man, I'm big on like like with my mom, my dad, like me and my dad, we are in a great space. Like I didn't have my dad all the time growing up, but now that I am, I'm a man now, and I'm a father. I don't beat him up. Like we just had a conversation. I finally got him to the point where like I'm like, Dad, you can stop stressing. I'm telling you, let that shit go. I don't care about that shit. I don't care about what you didn't do. I can't get none of that shit no more. I can't get it back. It's like it's
Yeah.
okay. Like I'm showing him he finally understand that his son is at peace with a lot of the stuff I was dealing with. He's seeing it now where it's like he's feeling safe now to be like, okay, I could let my guard down now because he still beats himself up about it because I'm not beating him up. And he told me that he's like, yo, honestly, that's one of the, you know, he said that's one of the things that kind of hurt him the most is how at peace I am and the fact the things he's done. That's why a lot of people need to stop even trying to get revenge on people. Just live your life, be peace and be happy because when they see how truly happy you are still,
They have no
that's it.
choice
They
but
have no
to.
choice. It hit different because it's like I'm not doing this to attack you. I'm doing this because I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm actually at peace. I'm okay. You feel me? And
Mhm.
that's a big thing though. But parents, even though like I was saying with that, like my dad, I still, I let him know like it's okay. And I apologize to my dad still. We'll disagree. I still apologize to my mom, even if I felt like she wrong. I don't go a day. If we'll probably go a day or two, probably don't talk, but I still apologize to her. And like you said, she could have, we both of my parents could have done better in areas. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Just like I know I'm working on avoiding that with my kids, but I'm prepared to hear something from them though, and I'm gonna give them the time to express themselves to me. Or they frustration,
Yes.
you know, because it's like I have to understand, like, you know, even though I'm making these choices that I feel like is best, potentially it might affect them in a way and that I don't understand until me and them talk about it, or they let me know. That's why when I do talk to them, I let my kids know they can talk to me. I explain, you know, it's a safe place. They know that I love them. They know I'm not going to just beat them for, you know, feeling sad or just expressing yourself, and it's okay and stuff like that. Like, cause I
And
went through a lot.
be open to apologize.
Oh yeah, of
You're not
course.
always as a parent, and I think that that's where like the toxicity comes from when I speak to people and I'm like, well, why don't you have a relationship? It's like, well, they know what they were doing, and every time I brought it to them, they never apologized. And it's like, yes, that may be on their part, but I think we're also so conditioned to point the finger
Yeah,
for our transgressions and how we react and how our life is. It comes to a point where you're on your own. You can blame nobody but yourself. I don't care how you grew up, you know? And then we're in a day and age like if you got a phone, there's no excuse.
exactly. I
There's
say that
no
all the
excuse because
time.
you're not looking for a solution, you're looking to complain.
Yep. Because it
You're
gets to a certain
pointing the finger. Yeah, you're
point.
pointing the finger, but three are pointing back at you.
All the time. I say that all the time. And like like people don't need to understand it. Get to a certain point in time when you get to you hit a certain age. I would say like 24ish, 25ish, you know, mid 20s. Like I'm not saying have your whole life together, but at that point, it's like if you're not developing methods to deal with trauma, to deal with certain things you've been through, at that point you just being lazy, and whatever comes your way with dealing with people, like far as dealing with people and where you're at with just in life, your happiness and all that, that is all on you. It's all on
Right.
you. Because like you said, we got the phone. You could reach out to people, reach out to just get information and all that. And if you're not doing that, you know, it's you really don't want help. You really don't. You don't want no help. You want to like I said, if you like when they say a closed mouth don't get fed. That's it's like that. Where it's like if you truly want help, if you don't want your childhood trauma like me, I don't want my childhood trauma to cause me to not to be able to love the next person or things that I've been through to love the next person that I'm in a relationship with. That's why I'm not dating right now. That's why I'm focusing on me and not trying to like I'm not even having sex. Like I don't even want to have sex. I don't even want to, you know what I mean? Like just because it's a spiritual thing for me. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
on a real spiritual journey, and it's like I understand the leaving the small things that I was just being not mindful about, like it was affecting me and stuff like that. The people I'm dealing with, you know what I mean, friends, anything, spouse. It was just like I'm finally at a point where it's just like I'm in control of the things that I wasn't in control of, and everything is going good. But it's not easy though. You got to be happy with it. You got to be happy with the change because it's not easy. There's times where I don't want to, sometimes I want to just be like lazy, and not saying I want to be lazy, but I don't want to. I don't always want to be strong. Sometimes I want to be like, damn, but I am strong. I am, so I can't be weak because I am strong. But like sometimes I just want to be like, God, why I gotta be this strong? Why can't I just, I can't be like them. So it's like, they live the life. They can just, Me, I have, you know what I mean? But I don't know. That's
Um, but that goes back to us looking on the outside, right?
yeah.
We might be strong. We think we're, you don't want to always be strong. And but our mental or our physical strength may be stronger than theirs, and their battles that they're going through may be consuming them.
I believe that.
So, like it may seem easy for you, like, oh, if I had that life, I would be going through a breeze. But for them, it might be them carrying a boulder on their back, a
Yeah.
mountain on their back, you know. So the struggle is different for each person. And you know, you can be struggling with your mental, but they can be struggling with addiction,
Mm,
and you may never know it. So
that's real.
um we
That's
have to
real.
remind ourselves that, yeah, everybody's different, and we can't look at what other people have or what they may perceive to have. Also, you master self, you master everything else.
I
And
believe that.
I have to stress that. You master yourself, because everything you react to, every choice you make, every situation you put yourself in is you. You decided to do that. So you have to master yourself before you can master anything around you, whether it be the ground you walk on, or your kids or your spouse. If you're not right within, nothing else, it will just trickle into everything else in your life.
That's 100% true. That's 100% true. Just like you just said, it's your fault. Like you can't blame nobody. It's like at the end of the day, you are in control of that. Like you can't say, "Oh, why this person? Why we got pulled over? You chose to get up with them today and go hang out with them when everybody got pulled over." So initially, you really can't blame nobody in the car. Yeah, you can if you wanted to pinpoint something, but no actuality, you when you woke up and they asked you, "Did you want to come out and hang out?" And you said, "Yeah." You put yourself in position for whatever happens. So like that's just changing your perspective on life, just how you look
Yeah.
at stuff. It really will. It really perspective is very slept on, just as far as like how if you kind of you can master perspective too. I feel like that's something like people don't understand because like I can look at something from your end, and even though I might not agree with it, I can understand it. So I don't need to force my perspective on you because I understand your perspective. You know what I'm saying? And that just and everybody's not like that. Everybody can't have intellectual conversations like that too. And I understand that. I had to grow to understand that sometimes that's even people that want to help people at times, even with conversations, we get mad and you get to a point where you go in to help people and it turns into an argument. And that's just because like sometimes we gotta understand, especially the ones that have messages and because God chooses who He wants to send stuff through. I believe that. I believe the source chooses certain
Hmm.
people who He wants. So,
Yes.
so I feel like once you realize you are chosen to say things, you are chosen to push something. Now you're not everything. You can talk about everything, but there's certain things in your life that you are chosen to speak on, and it's certain people that are chose to listen to you. They chosen are to listen to you. They might haven't met you yet. You might not meet them yet, anything like that, or they might be silent, or you never know. But I do believe that. I do believe you just got to be careful of just those are the people with messages. We got to be careful of how we conversating with people, and and just not trying to get baited into the debate because it goes from a conversation to a debate. Debates, I don't really like debates. I just like to conversate. I don't really like debates because what are we debating if it's not like healthy? It's not a healthy debate. Like I don't really like them.
Well,
So
there is healthy debate. It teaches you, let's say the other person's out of control, right? Like they're yelling, they're doing all types of stuff. That gives you a chance to control yourself and how you react.
okay, I like that.
Like, so you have to be able to navigate every personality or, different reactions from people, because they're not going to have the same react. They're never going to have the same reaction as you.
Right.
So once you are able to control the narrative because of how you're acting, even though that person is irate and they're cussing and they're doing a whole bunch of stuff, your reaction transcends to them, right? So they can be yelling and you can be like, I understand that. And you can be talking in a calm voice. They have no choice but to calm
Yeah,
down.
Yeah.
eventually, you know, unless they're like a psycho person. But most people, yeah, it's energy, it's exchange of energy. So if they get up here and you get up there, then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and that goes back to the message thing where it's like sometimes I had to understand even with me that I have energy, like energy type when I speak, a passion, like when I talk. That see how I am when I'm calm, I could be calm, but I notice that when I talk to people and when I'm passionate about it, even if I'm not mad, if I was to just raise it a little bit,
People
they gonna
think you're arguing.
they think I'm arguing.
Yeah, I have that problem too. It's like,
Oh,
damn, why are you so mad? I'm not mad.
and
It's
it's
just the
me.
passion behind it.
Yes, but I had, you know what I learned? I've learned that, you know what? We are in control of the certain majority of the conversations we be in. And I've noticed that where it's like when I started looking at it like that, where it's like, okay, even like it just go back to what you just said, as far as like when you learn to control, you learn how to deal with things. I learned that majority of times when I'm conversating with people, if I control if I control myself, the conversation is always gonna go good. All the time, 100%. I'm never gonna miss. I
Yeah.
might deal with somebody that I don't agree with. It might get to a like disagreement, but never to the point where I'm losing myself. I'm out of control of myself. Anything like that, because it's always turned. It always turned to that like before, where it's like, yo, I'm really actually trying to help a person or have a good conversation. It goes from, in a way, I do get frustrated with people. I get frustrated with people at
And
times.
that's fine. And then that tells you right there, maybe there's some sort of energy that you don't need to be around. Like if you feel like you have mastered or contained how you react to certain people, you have to watch yourself. Like when you get around this person, when you get on the phone with this person, do you automatically just feel drained? Do you feel closure? Do you feel like, you know, this is going to be a problem before it even starts? You have to pay attention to those stuff, because I don't like to get so spiritual because everybody's not religious, but those are demonic energies.
Mm.
So you have to listen. You have to listen to your energy, your frequency. Like when this person's calling me, do I be like, oh, and then pick up the phone? If I do that every time, I don't need to be speaking to that person.
That's real, man. I hope y'all, yo, we saying some real stuff. I hope everybody that watched this back. I'm sorry, real quick. I gotta talk to the people because this is on for the playback. Whoever is watching this, I really hope like y'all is like taking and listening to this stuff, because this is stuff that people are like really scared to talk about, even within themselves. But people don't want to accept this type of stuff. This is stuff we think about. People think about this type of stuff. I've thought about that before. And it's crazy the fact the way you're saying it right now, and it's a different time for it now. It's like sometimes we have to be reminded of things sometimes, and then by the fifth time it brought back to us, we like, oh, okay, now I truly understand now. Some things that I thought I understood, I didn't understand until years later.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a whole new meaning for things sometimes. So that's deep.
Yeah, and it's also delivery. Like I've had people tell me the same thing over and over, but when a different person has told me, the energy received was different, but they were saying the same exact thing. And I digested it more and realized like, oh, okay, I need to do whatever. But it's also receiving the energy. You have to like you have to pay attention to the energy you receive, the energy you give out, and just your environment. Like even in your home, I've been in places where I'll walk into a room and I'm like, ooh, you know, I didn't realize that at first, but every time I went in that room, I had an attitude like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this work. It's because the energy in the room was just wrong. But yeah.
That's deep. That's deep right there. Babe, so energy, y'all. Energy. That's what I feel like, the word for the day. I haven't did a word in a day in like 20 episodes. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna start one today. We're gonna do it for this episode. Real talk, la la. Energy. Protect your energy. Know
Master
yourself.
your peace.
Protect
Ma-
your peace.
Master your peace.
Actually, no, we gonna do your quote. Can we use your quote?
Yeah,
Can we
yeah,
use that?
yeah.
Can you say it for us? Because I don't want to misquote it.
Masterpiece, so life can be a masterpiece.
Masterpiece, so life can be a masterpiece. I'm literally gonna like, can I write that on like my wall or something like that? Like,
Go ahead, go
can I
ahead.
do
I'm gonna
that?
start making t-shirts now.
Yeah, I'm copying them. I'm shopping with you. I'm shopping with you because
Yeah,
that's like I find peace in that quote. If you really truly understand it, it brings peace to your mind when you truly understand things too. That's what I love about understanding too. Just getting more and more of it. Like when you start to realize you didn't have understanding about certain things, and it changed your perspective. So that right there, I love that quote. I mean, we pretty much, you know, talked about some pretty good stuff. Pretty much, I don't want to die, you know, saturated with too many
oh
other
no,
things.
definitely, we could definitely do this again later on. I mean, there's always a message, there's always direction. I know you had a different conversation about relationships and stuff, but we didn't really get into that like that. And it just goes to show you that um God has navigated the conversation to hit somebody else, you
Yeah.
know, in a different way. And
Yes.
maybe, you know, relationship questions were not the what shouldn't have been the focus,
Yeah.
because there's so much other things that we talked about. But
I tend to, you know, even though I could write a million notes, right? I could write a million notes, but I truly, since I've started doing this, it's always been that way. I always truly just like, it's always different until the cameras is on, and then usually once the cameras is on, whatever comes, I asked you questions, some questions I did, but naturally I wanted the conversation to be authentic because, like you said, I like what you told me. It's like I'm coming off the head with my answers, and
right.
that's what I like. I like that type of stuff because it's more natural and stuff like that. So I just, like you said again, building it off of God. I think my energy, it's always in a genuine place. So as long as my energy is in a genuine place, I feel like I'm always going to allow God to come and navigate it because my energy is in line. It's like an open door for him to just come in and then change and do whatever he need to do, and then leave, and whoever get affected by it get affected. We just vessels. I understand.
Yeah.
I play my position, so we just playing our position. That's it. We just, you know what I mean, shedding that light like you are, like that drew me to you, just being that light. And again, you know, that's we definitely gonna set it up. I'm gonna be, after we get off this, I'm gonna be contacting you, writing you, so we can set it up again. But I appreciate you so much for coming on, sharing your story, dropping a bomb, even just far as you and your son's situation. Shout out to you. I'm gonna be praying for you, just to keep God to keep showering strength and protection and peace in your life. And shout out to your son. Shout out to your whole family. Shout out to everybody as far as your team who you work with in the podcast world. Again, is there anything else you want to say to the people before you go? Like, you want to leave something with somebody?
Um Stop thinking so much and just do it. That's it.
Okay. Well, there you have it, y'all. There you have it. It's GC. We got Real Talk Lala. Stay tuned. I'm gonna have her back up again so we can have this talk again. I love y'all. If you ain't a part of that notification game, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, and make sure you follow Lala. I left her information in the description. Until next time.
All right. Appreciate y'all. Bye.